What we see in Markham Unionville is an immigrant community that is forging a new identity in our vibrant Canadian mosaic. Moreover, Markham Unionville embodies the upwardly mobile middle-class Canadian dream that all immigrant communities aspire towards. It is a riding that has maintained a balance between industry, farmland, and urban life. We have industry in the form of both locally grown talent, like Novo Plastics, and internationally recognized giants like Honda Canada. Markham Unionville in the north is filled with serene farmlands, while in the south is a bustling urban environment. Our commercial districts are filled with multi-generational small businesses like Lucas Bakery and Kanji Queen. Altogether, Markham Unionville is the postcard city for the Canadian dream with an enviable quality of life. Madam Speaker, let's take a quick moment to define what the Canadian dream is. It's as simple as owning a house on a safe street where children can play at ease, where seniors can go for a carefree walk, and where cars don't go missing in the night. It is shocking to hear all the car thefts emerging in my community. This is a canary in the coal mine. The Canadian dream is faltering and has been for quite some time. The fabric of our mosaic is coming undone at the seams. As members of the official opposition, it is not merely our duty to hold the government to account for the agenda that it outlined last week. We are not merely here as policy critics, but as a fellow pillar of governance. We provide hopes to Canadians that things can and will get better. Madam Speaker, the Conservative priority for this session of Parliament is a Canada that is affordable, safe, self-reliant, and united. Further, when I campaigned to my community in Markham Unionville, I repeated two core promises. One, we will restore safety on our streets by repealing liberal laws and locking up repeat offenders. And two, we will bring down the cost of living with a budget that cuts spending, taxes, and inflation. Madam Speaker, I had the pleasure of reading the Prime Minister's mandate letter before hearing the throne speech last week. If I didn't know they were put together by the Liberals, I would have mistaken them for something produced by a center-right party of the last few decades. Thus, one fact is clear to me for this session of Parliament. We are focused on priorities that have universally been championed by Conservatives for decades upon decades. Safe communities with an affordable quality life is the singular battle cry for Conservatives everywhere. Madam Speaker, the Liberals are uniquely ill-equipped to truly deliver on community safety file, not because of ability, but because of contradictions inherent in the coalition that forms their support base. A safe community requires that we solve both the crime and drug issues while simultaneously with overwhelmed healthcare, housing, job markets, and immigration levels. Crime, drugs, and an overwhelmed social infrastructure are all intertwined in fostering unsafe communities. In juggling all these competing priorities, some will fall by the wayside explicitly because the coalition that forms the Liberal support base will not allow the Liberals to turn 180 degrees on all their prior commitments. The Liberal prior commitment on crime is expressed in Bill C-75, the Catch and Release Bill. It allows repeat offenders to be released on bail within hours of arrest, who then often go and promptly re-offend. Only by repealing these Liberal commitments can judges have the freedom to allow minimum sentencing. I was discussing this issue with the Deputy Chief of Police of our great York Regional Police. We have discussed that the police force is discouraged that criminals are released before the paperwork is done. Madam Speaker, our frontline police force and their families are fearful every day with these repeat dangerous criminals free on the streets. The throne speech commitment to increasing the RCMP force neither goes far enough, nor should it be the only focus. The Liberal prior commitment on drugs is expressed in Bill C-5, which eliminated mandatory jail time for the production and trafficking of hard drugs like fentanyl. Isn't it odd that the Liberal throne speech decreed a desire to block the flow of fentanyl, and yet their previous legislation allows fentanyl traffickers to avoid jail term? Bill C-5 allows house arrest for these criminals. This means they can just walk out their own front doors and be on the street immediately, pushing hard drugs in our neighborhoods. Moreover, the drug issues require that we not merely stop the drug kingpin and their drug trade, but further, we have a robust program of treatment in place. The throne speech did not go far enough on the drug file, as it made no mention of addiction treatment programs. This is something that we conservatives are committed to. Will this government repeal Bill C-5 and C-75 that the Liberals put into place? Madam Speaker, I want to remind this House once more what the Canadian dream has always been. Canadians want to own a house on a safe street where children can play at ease, where seniors can go for a carefree walk, and where cars don't go missing in the night. The Liberals have presented an agenda that speaks about reducing fentanyl flows and increasing their RCMP force. However, their commitments towards Bills C-5 and C-75 are a threat to Canadians from coast to coast to coast. My colleagues across the aisle have voted for a Canada where repeat offenders are to be released on bail within hours. They have legislated into being a world where the producers and traffickers on fentanyl get house arrest instead of jail time. I cannot in my right mind consider the Liberals to be a party ready to protect the communities of hardworking Canadians, no matter what promises they have provided in their throne speech agenda. We Conservatives are a government in waiting. We are the hope of Canadians for a future that can and be different from this status quo. Madam Speaker, lastly, I urge the Liberals to provide Canada with a spring budget. Canadians want an open and accountable government with a plan for how to keep our communities safe and our cost of living under control. Thank you.